favorite examples of this, I use this a lot in my Study Smarter, Not Harder workshop, as well as another one I call Working the System, how to deal with resistant kids and teenagers. So I used to be the youth substance abuse coordinator for one of Valley Mental Health's units, and I did that for about 10 years or so. And so I get all the kids, the 14 to 17-year-olds who've been busted, for drinking, smoking, shoplifting, any kind of breaking the law types of things. These are your typical, seemingly resistant kids, the rebellious kids, the ones with attitudes, the bad kids type of thing. And when I took over one of these classes, where these kids are court-ordered to class, these two women who were teaching it, they were kind of burned out. And so I was assigned to kind of take over. It was a tough job. And they hand me this manual, I'm supposed to teach from and whatnot. And they say, "Good luck." And I'm like, wow, what's wrong with these kids? And so they explain, well, they don't listen, they put their heads down on the table, they talk amongst themselves, they're rude, they swear, they talk back at you. And I'm like, wow, that's tough. Okay, I'll do the best I can. Walk into the room, throw the manual in the garbage can, and start talking to these kids. Because I'm thinking, someone forgot what it's like for these kids. Where's the empathy of their position? Yeah, they're bad kids, they got in trouble, they're forced to be here, all that, but what if I was in that position? What if I was some 15-year-old kid who every adult in their life is telling them what to do, and now they're forced to be here? How open and receptive would I feel to have someone teaching me, okay? And so, and if the kids, we've all had boring teachers. We've all had parents who go on and on and on with a lecture, right? Mm-hmm. And our eyes roll in the back of our head within the first 3 seconds of that lecture. And so I can remember what that was like. So I can empathize with that kid. So one thing that these two teachers weren't looking at was the possibility that they just might be boring. Right? And maybe the kid's bored not because he's a resistant punk kid. Maybe he's bored because you're boring. And I can look at that with myself as an adult. Is it possible that I just might be boring?
I hope not.
I hope not. Hey, hopefully this is a lot more exciting. But is it a possibility? If the kid is putting their head down, are they just being resistant, or are they teaching me something? And one of the core principles that I teach parents and therapists that I train, or anybody else, is something that we learned from the solution-focused model of therapy, which is there's a tenet that says there is no such thing as a resistant client. There's only a resistant therapist who's not willing to be taught by what the resistance is telling. So when a kid puts their head down, so when I come into a class like that, I came in and went, okay, I've got to cover these types of concepts and principles with these kids. So there was still a structure I wanted to follow. But I come in with 10 teaching methods for each one concept. So as I'm going through an activity or a strategy or an approach, and their behavior shows me that it's not working, like they're like this, or heads down, or they're talking with their friends, or kind of laughing and making jokes, and trying to push the adult's buttons, right? But since I know that's what they're doing, they don't have to push that button. I know that they're going to teach me what works. So I go through this idea, well, that doesn't work, so I drop it quickly. If an idea isn't working, I'm not going to keep pushing it down their throat. Because I don't care how we get there. There's a concept in psychology, probably in a lot of other parts of life too, we call equifinality. It's like all roads lead to Rome.
Right.
I don't have to take this road, or this road. There's many equal starting points. I don't care as long as we get to the final outcome that they get the point. So if this teaching method isn't working, big deal, drop that. If this teaching method isn't working, I'll drop that. If this teaching method isn't working, I'll drop that. So I'll go through 7, 8 ideas, and then I hit on number 9, and a head pops up off the table.
That's great.
Thanks for teaching me what works. And I teach that idea. And so what happens is over the course of teaching all these kids, is I end up with some really core teaching methods that always work. Well, most of the time work with most of these kids. Mm-hmm. And fun, silly things like chicken bones, or a game that I call chicken bones, or other little magic tricks, or certain video clips that I would use. And because when their heads pop up and their voices shut up and their eyes are forward, oh, that's the right idea.
Right.
And then the teaching can get through. But too often, adults and kids get caught in these power struggles. Instead of learning, let the kid teach. They'll always teach. And the thing I love about kids and teenagers, more than adults, is they're more honest.
Right.
we as adults, we learn how to patiently, quietly sit there and nod our heads. But I'm still tuning you out, and I'm still bored as all get out. But I'm at least being polite about it.
Right.
And the truth is, in that setting, I don't get near as much feedback that's helpful to me as a teacher. I can spend a whole workshop
and not have reached
and
anyone.
not really reach anybody.
So
Whereas the kids, they'll tell you what's working and what's not. And if we have the humility as a teacher, as a parent, to say, I just might be boring, and not take that personal, and not make it personal, but inwardly. So when these kids start really pushing, we can say things to them, like, thank you. That was a really good try. You almost pushed my button there. You almost really got my blood pressure. You are so good at this. That's how we appreciate a kid in that moment.
Right.
Thank you for teaching me what's not working. I'm going to keep working on this.